philosophy behind it. Little bit more than what normally I share on Instagram. So it was like about last summer when a design student who was known to me personally just messaged me and in a very casual way said, Didi, can you teach me how to code? And I was just wondering what it would mean for me to teach her, a designer, to code and how it could help her with her workflow rather than making her into a development professional, which was not her agenda in life, and nor is it mine. So what does that mean? And I've been using P5JS for a while now, and it made sense to kind of have a framework that could attach well to her practice as a creator. And there is a very well-known digital creator called Zach Lieberman who uses a format called Recreating with the Past, where he features computational artists from the 70s when it originally started, whose work is fairly wonderful and helps students to recreate it with sort of modern computer languages like P5, and they use something called open frameworks. I felt like that format worked well for. He's also a designer by his education. So, but I was like, okay, what would it mean for us to try it for Indian artists? And of course, I could not find computation-based artists from the 70s that were specifically Indian or even Asian, South Asian for that matter. But I did remember the very wonderful work of Nasreen Mohammadi. She was a well-known artist from the 70s and the 80s based in Baroda. Aditi, you might be sort of well-versed with her body of work as well. And I felt like the forms are simple enough for us to start off a simple journey around this. So Maylin, who's the one who asked me for the sessions, I just like trudged with her and I said, okay, let me just call another bunch of friends and let's see if this is a possibility. And about 5-6 women joined, and Agat, like Kushal here, is the only guy in this cohort. Agat was the only one in that one. But unfortunately, because he was also babysitting Yugen because I was taking the sessions, I don't think he got a chance to learn a lot from the sessions. So you can see the forms are very simple. They are fairly like monotone in nature. And her story is sort of the most exciting bit about all of it, because it's a story of someone who's already very aware of their, I'll share a viewer link in the chat as well, who is very aware of their impending passing. She had a very debilitating disease, and her father and uncle had the same. I think, I'm not sure, but maybe it was a form of Parkinson's. I keep trying to remember, but I always forget at the very end. And it was very important for her to have a very strong sense of control. So that journey was very interesting, and for me to wrap a few lessons around that was very exciting. And then from there on, so we started with some very basics, which I'll just share specifically from this cohort, where you just start using simple mouse interactions with simple shapes like lines and circles and rectangles and rectangles and things. And then you can see that they essentially start as in a very experimental way, and in many of the scenarios they don't at all represent what Nasreen's work was like, because her work was very strongly rooted in the idea of being superbly perfect. Thank you. And it's known that she would even rip the page out if even one line went the way she didn't want it to, because of course for her it was very much about like motor control of her hand and things like that. But here it's more about you being sort of steeping yourself in the idea that you can create something with a very limited amount of code, and not have to feel that you have that very logical mindset, which we tend to kind of stereotype STEM people from STEM in, and specifically as creators we try to unimbibe it, almost unlearn that kind of a logical mindset. But I feel like perhaps that's just a little bit of a roadblock for us and like for us to open out from that thought process. So you can see that slowly, as the class was kind of getting into the idea, some very precise works also came out, like this one from Jenny, and this is very almost exactly the same as this one. And Jenny, have you added this to your collection, or is it okay if I share it now, or would you prefer to?
Fine.
Okay. So the screenshots, of course, showcase what's possible, but also it gave her an opportunity to use the mouse interactions to like give a little bit. You guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I hope everyone in the chat is okay as well. So from here, we will quickly run through the other artists' works as well, because the format is pretty much the same. We take on a certain few commands from P5JS, and we take a certain artist for that week, and then we try to recreate something from their work and learn a little bit about them in the process. Of course, I am certainly not someone who has any background in art history, but it's just about like sharing whatever one has learned by that pure bit of research. So, and then you can see that now works are emerging for everybody in the various sort of formats. You can see everyone started posting things. This was Zarina's work. Zarina was also of the same time period, but based in America. Her work, and she passed away recently. In fact, I think just around the time of the lockdown. And
I'm back again.
The tabs haven't changed.
oh, the tab has changed. Sorry,
Not changed.
not
It's still in
changed.
the ID.
Oh, that's strange. Okay, maybe I went off to another incorrect tab. There you are. Better?
Yeah.
Cool. So Zarina's work, and she was based out of the US, and her work was takes a lot from printmaking. Aditi, I'm sure you can kind of steep yourself in her body of work, because she had an opportunity to learn with some very well-known printmakers of Japan, and in the day she would do printmaking as like a job to make money, because she was probably like the first one in her family who had like first woman in her family who had a job. So, and I mean the rift that all of her like like personal life had, this was her way of like getting back up on her feet. And in the evenings she would do posters for the feminist movement. So many posters from the feminist movement in the US were actually printed or designed by Zarina at that time. Her work spoke a lot about her idea of home, because she was born in pre-partition India. Then her parents and her rest of her family moved to Pakistan. So what is that idea for you as home, but you are living away from it as a married person, and then like where do you place yourself in those ideas? So and some of them come out in these large collections which are fairly beautiful. If you're on the Google Doc, you can click all of these links, take you out, and you can kind of have a little journey of your own. And from there we saw that people, so the cohort started to like build their own kind of versions of her work. These use custom functions, shapes, a little bit of rotate functions and things like that. And then we moved on to Rana Begum. She's a contemporary artist, Bangladeshi, based out of UK. She moved to the UK as a young child from Bangladesh. And I think one of the very interesting things was, because she works a lot with color, that I found that she says that it was in stark contrast, like England and Bangladesh were in stark contrast for her, because she's coming from these lush green areas and being pushed into this very dull grey like idea of Britain that I don't know, Jenny, maybe you would defer to think of it as being more exciting, but that's that's what we think of Britain. So anyway, so these are some of the works that we spoke of and saw in the sessions, and understood her sort of engagement with the ideas of color and very simple forms. This gave an opportunity for people to try ideas of like using color in the screen, which is typically RGB or HSL, and also looking at ideas of what is called the modulo operator, which is like getting the remainder when you divide a set of numbers, and playing with that to kind of pull together the artwork. And then moving on to the for loops, which basically like allow you to set up a loop where there is a beginning statement and an end statement and an increment. So these are some very nice ones from Chandaji as well. And then we did a very brief introduction to loading images and manipulating them a little bit. We featured Shiba Chachi's work. Shiba, again, was, I think, originally from NID and then went on abroad to study. When she came back to India, she very fervently documented the women's feminist movements here, and of course these movements have a like fair amount of like grassroots effort, and are not of today where it is where it is just like limited Instagram stories. And she was documenting the movement, and then she felt like she needed to do some staged images, and these were some of the women from the movement. I think it was an anti-dowry like a group that was working against dowry. And over the course of some time, she moved into collage making, and really a strong sense of understanding and acknowledging the issues of the ecology. And from there on, we see a little bit of glimpses of Aditi's work in the sketches. I'm sure there'll be a bit more when we present. And then we have Aisha Jatoi from Pakistan. Her work features a lot of text and minimalist kind of forms. From here, we looked at loading text onto your sketches and also looking at arrays, which are basically lists. And finally, the last artist we featured in the sessions was Ranjini Shettar, a contemporary artist living in Hubli, I believe, or Hubli, in very close to Bangalore. Works with natural materials, reused materials, and creates these very ephemeral, almost floating objects, which have a sort of very organic kind of a form. One of her works is, I think it's called Touch Me Not, and has this kind of sine wave, and sort of sine wave is like a real crux to a lot of generative artworks. Looking at the ideas of polar coordinates and all I thought would be essential to kind of letting out the creativity of what is possible, and we did a recreation of that. So now I'll stop talking. I know I have this very bad habit of going on, and I'll take it, I'll share the screen, and whoever is presenting, you can just tell me which one you'd like me to open, and accordingly I'll do that. So who'd like to go first? अरे कोई बोल ही नहीं रहा है चंदा.
I don't mind going
Okay, I'll
first.
go.
Oh, Kushal.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind. I had 3 works I shared that were, excuse me, that were kind of a progression. They showed how the process, how we were sort of changing things and building on things that we previously did. So if you open the ones with the horses.
Okay, let me. Okay, 1 second. Let me bring this on to the main.
Yeah, I mean, just to explain, it started off because Ambika mentioned we were looking at My Bridge Horse in Motion. I think she suggested as a really good thing to put into an array, an image to put into an array. And a friend of mine, Ayushi, had been talking about digital flip books. And I thought, oh, what a brilliant image to use as a flip book.
Sorry, just give me a second. I'm just
That's okay.
struggling with it a bit.
And it was kind of around the end of October, so I kind of went with this kind of ghostly image. It'll be
There we are.
behind it.
You guys can see it on the chat. I've just, do you want me to open the horses?
Yeah, there's three, so it'll be
Okay, cool.
The ghost one at the top.
Okay.
So this is how it started. I kind of loved the idea that it was a real horse from like 1878 or somewhere that, you know, was actually running, and that you could still see it even though they hadn't invented film, you know, to capture it in that way then. So it was like the still images, but you could still see, you could look back in time and still see this actual real horse and a real rider who existed. So I just thought that was kind of ghostly anyway, and so yeah, that's how I kind of started with that and loved that idea. Yeah.
Okay, there is an
And then-
echo of the audio. Just give me a second, please. Sorry. I think.
This is so wonderful, Sarah. Jenny, sorry. Yes, my friend.
I just love playing with it. I just love watching the horse run.
You know, we used to do this exercise in animation called zoetropes.
Oh yes.
So you know, there's a wheel, and it just reminded me of that. It looks so stunning. So you know, you would have like these single frames, and you would just like spin the wheel. So you would have like this movement.
Yes, that's it. Exactly. It's kind of like magical in itself, isn't it? Because you know that it's not real, but it's real. So yeah, that's where it started. And then what I did is I took that same image and then removed the background, because you can see there's all these markers behind it, which are actually quite nice. They kind of, the ones at the bottom kind of look like you would write music on them, maybe, you know. But I took the background out with remove BG. So the second sketch after this,
Okay. Yeah.
is the removed backgrounds and just the horse.
The shadow, is it the one that's called shadow? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then I just spent a ridiculous amount of time moving the mouse across the screen and back again. If you just go.
Okay, 1 second.
Across.
That is so cool.
I just like to do that. I like the way that you can make it go backwards. And then when we were later on, when we were talking just now about the sine wave in one of the later sessions, I realized that it was like a carousel horse, you know, that kind of up and down, like, so the last sketch is all of the images.
Lovely.
But it looks like they're jumping up into the sky.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it.
It's brilliant. Okay, which one would you like to share next?
Oh, and then there were a couple that that I just sort of started, but I want to play more with. So we were talking before at the beginning of this stream, weren't we, about how it's good to share stuff in progress. So if you go to the one, I think it's just called Rose Maths, because we were talking about Rose Maths.
Yeah.
That one. And I think because it was Diwali as well, and we were talking about fireworks, and so it's kind of just different colours depending on where you are on the screen.
Okay, so the X and Y is giving you the color and the movement. Sorry, the Y is giving you the color and the X is giving the movement, right?
Beautiful.
Lovely.
It's really surprising where you sort of think there's nothing there, and then you stop somewhere else and there's some flower appears from nowhere.
Yeah, it's looking superb. So this one, if for those who are on the stream and may not know, it's like something from it's called Rose Mathematics. So it allows you to use a small what shall I call it, formula, and kind of add it to your polar coordinates, and it gives you these very beautiful spirograph like images. And also, just like, I'll just give a hello to everyone on the stream, because I'm like looking at so many screens and I don't want to like miss out saying hello to to the people who've come in to encourage us. There is I can see there's Rasagya, of course Kushal is around there, and here there's Ophelia, who's Anushka, a really wonderful creative coder as well. Rasagya runs a very nice creative coding community in India, which we all love to attend. There's Karen, Sinodent, also very wonderful designer and artist, and Denisovich, also Rishi, who's sort of really getting into the creative coding community, and I found him on someone else's stream who's also like really amazing. So thanks everyone for joining, and hope you can stick around to see everyone's work. It's only 3 people showing, so like I'm sure you can keep that much patience. So then shall we go on to the moons, Jenny?
Oh, well, you can do. I had a lot of trouble with the with the moons.
Okay. Maybe someone in the stream can like nudge us in the right direction too.
Yeah, I mean, like I was playing a lot with that, and I still didn't get really where I wanted to. In the end, there was one at the end. Is it called Random Moons or something? You can probably see in my sketches. It kind of just swirls around.
Are you guys able to see everything on the chat? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's another one that I would like to play more with. But,
Cool.
and the last one was we were talking about Raina Begum, and I was really inspired by her stuff. Oh, there you go. You can see it swirling around. But I was really inspired by her because I love the idea of that coloured perspex, that you could see different colours through at different angles with different lights. So I did a version of Ambika had done like a
3D
one, hadn't you, with like the triangles?
Yeah.
So
Oh wow, this is looking great. This is the one near your place.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, this is wonderful.
This is the one that's actually in the UK in the Frieze Sculpture Park in Regent's Park. So I want to go see.
Nice. So people are really on the chat are really loving the moon sketches. Someone saying yes, I like the moons and how it relates to the scientific textbook pictures, trying to show them how the moon works, and very interesting. Everyone's quite excited about it. So this one is Jenny's recreated a very beautiful sculpture, and also which turned out to be really close to her residence. I'll just share that here as well. This is in the UK, and of course you can see it's like human scale, and like the colors and the way they interact changes as the sun moves around the sculpture. Or like it's the sculpture is so captivating that I think the sun moves around the sculpture. No, the sun moves around the earth. but as the sun moves through the day, the sculpture changes the way it kind of appears. So these are, Jenny, is there anything else you'd like to share? I mean, I'd be happy for everyone to see something specific.
I can't think of any others, but that's I really loved all of it.
Yes.
I want to do more.
Yeah. So we'll do a little chat at the end, so that if people can be a little free and like have a fun conversation, if that's okay by everyone. Yeah. Okay. Now who goes next? You go? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll open Chandaji's sketches now, which are here. All right. So shall I go from top to bottom, or you want to go in a specific order?
Then go from top to bottom.
Okay. So we're starting with Rana Begum, which is I've forgotten which artwork this is, but I think we have it here, right? And you can keep saying things about it, Chandaji, whatever you like. Are these works online? I can just share the sketches with everyone on the chat. Is that okay if I share them with everyone?
No, no problem.
No problem. Okay. So these are from Chandaji's collection, and I will also share with you Jenny's. Okay. At this point, I would like to state very blatantly and in great admiration that Chandaji is a mathematics gold medalist. So without her, many of the concepts in the class would not have been clear. Because I am really poor at maths, so she really helped, like supported us with the logics. So there's like an opportunity for anyone to kind of be part of workshops like this. You don't necessarily have to be an, creator or maker. You can also be a scientist or a mathematician or somewhere in between as well. Then I'll show the next one, which is the sine wave, which is also quite nice. This is from our explorations with sine and curve with Ranjini Shetter's work.
It's one of my favorites, I think.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's creative. I
Yeah.
think the colors also, and just, yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I also loved her recreation of Ranjini's the earth like closer. This is really
Yeah.
beautiful. Just like a little bit
I've
big.
used sine theta and cos theta, both the functions.
Both. Okay, okay. So basically, she's mapping it from 1 to -1 across some y values in the canvas. It's almost like they are kind of 3D and interwoven, no? Like in some places, I can feel like they're overlapping in a different way. And then we've got this one, which really blew my mind. Maybe you can talk to us a bit about how you thought this in, like how you figured the calculation for this one.
Actually, I've used the spiral concept in this.
So, like, how did you know कि उसकी maths यही रहेगी? Like, for me, I would never have
No,
thought
this is trial and error.
trial and error. Okay. So, basically, the radius is becoming smaller and smaller, right?
Yeah, radius
हाँ.
is becoming smaller. This negative वो दे रखा ना उसमें r
हाँ.
is minus.
Okay,
And
all right.
secondly, uh, uh, in this code, I have specified this. This is 2 pi into 28.
28.
And
Okay.
this is 28.
So that means it's going 360 degrees 28 times.
28 times, yes.
Okay, which is why it's reaching the center.
Right reaching the center.
Okay, okay. Very nice. Beautiful.
So I
And
have tried 30, 28, 25, 20, and
Okay.
तो थोड़ा सा gap रह गया
हाँ,
ultimately.
हाँ.
तो फिर वापस 28 करके at that.
हाँ, very nice. Very beautiful. Shall I move to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Hey, nice.
Wow.
Did you know your artwork is being used, Aditi?
This is like, it was very exciting. I think I'm more excited than I can see my artworks in this light as well. I think I never imagined,
Yeah.
right, like looking at my own works like that.
Yeah,
So
and
it's very
very
exciting.
cool. Yeah, and I almost thought first I thought that you have made like you have taken two images and made a spiral, and then and then I looked closer. I was like, no, this looks like Aditi's piece. So it was very exciting to see that. And yesterday, Aditi, I met a designer, and she's also now into creative coding. And she was saying that the works she builds tend to have this kind of step-by-step format. And the interesting thing she said was that one day she was building a big artwork which had a grid, and she had a fixed thing that, okay, this part of the grid will have this color. And so halfway through the project, she was like, I really wish I knew how to code because it was so easy. So now when I look at this, I can really like think about what she was saying. But, so
Yeah.
can you tell us a bit about this? This both of you maybe like once Chandaji can tell us what she's done. Aditi, maybe you can tell us a bit about your sculpture here.
I think it's actually a very interesting choice that mom's taken for
Yeah.
this one particular artwork is because you know so it's completely a mathematical sculpture in itself, right?
Hmm.
Because they are like single pieces of paper, so maybe around 50 to 60 single small rectangles, right?
Okay.
And then you have to be very precise when you're crafting with
Angle,
hand with the angle.
particular angle.
So in
Okay.
fact, it's unbelievable. When I started doing this work, mom is the one who helped me how to figure out how to kind of like put it in the right angle, and I
Huh.
was just crafting it, right?
Okay.
And so this one is like one piece is fabric and one piece is paper. So
Paper.
the fabric is like indigo, which is a traditional sort of craft process in the hometown and where we stay, right? Like close to our hometown. So
Yeah.
it's like a completely hand-done process and block printed. So again, like a hand-done process of carving into the wood and then kind of like printing onto the fabric, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this coming into, I think, like coding is just like I think it's seen the artwork, seen its journey completely. It feels like from craft to like the modern world.
Most digital. Yeah. 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 I know.
I think
It's
I
really
love
nice.
like I think mom will talk about how she decided, but it's really interesting how she's played with this now.
For the sake of all of us who are a little bit less educated, is this Dabu or this?
Yeah,
This is
Dabu.
Dabu,
It is
right? Okay. Okay. Can I? Do you think there'll be a Wikipedia for Dabu, like which I can share with
I
everybody?
can talk about it a little bit if you want.
Would yeah, I would love that. But I like okay. Everybody has to bear with it now. Okay, tell us. Huh.
Okay, I think me, mom, and Ambika live in Udaipur, which is located in the Mewar region of Rajasthan. And 40 the city is called Udaipur, right? And 40 kilometers from Udaipur, there is a village called Akola, where traditionally they do a lot of fabric printing, which is indigo flowering and then indigo dyeing and hand block printing, right? So there are two methods. Traditionally, what they used to do is take tar, which is basically coal, hot coal, from the construction, right, road construction and stuff. And the other method was using clay. So it was
Okay.
really a cold process and a hot process. So the hot process is the tar, where you like, you get the result, which is more red, what you're seeing on the screen right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is red indigo. But the Dabu process is more like where the clay blocks the design onto the
Okay.
fabric, and when the fabric is dipped into indigo, when it comes out, there's a little bleed on the fabric. So there's a little bit indigo on the white where the design is printed. So it's a very
Okay.
beautiful hot cold process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically like a resist. It's like mud
It's
resist.
a
What they? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And then there was, I think, another piece. Oh, this very amazing one. One second. Allow. I love this one because it was like it's bringing together so many things that we were doing
Yeah. Yeah.
with.
I have used
Love.
whatever you are teaching us,
Cool.
I have used everything in this.
Yeah. So like it's got all the pieces with the sign and the movement of the boat and random for the fish and vertex, begin shape, end shape, triangles. So random itself and arc also, which I never covered fully, but for the cloud. So super. This is a really fantastic one. Uh, and then we'll do these two. Hey, this is a good one. So basically, this is catching the texture from load image and adding that to a box. And this one is sine wave also wonderful. And the color gradation. Oh, and this one I missed yesterday when I saw in the morning when you shared it. Very nice.
I added this today only.
Ah, okay. Nice.
And I've not seen it. It's a great surprise.
So how is the I think you're changing the stroke, right? Stroke color is changing and the fill is fixed. Very nice. It's beautiful. Okay, super cool. Okay, yeah, so that's all of them. And then we have Kushal, who actually has a very interesting thing to share, which he was very kindly helping me yesterday with the OBS setup, so he shared with me. Uh, where is he now? He's here. Okay, I'll pin his face now. Okay, did you share your link here? Yeah.
It's in the meet chat.
And I'll put it in the chat for you. Oh, part of the sketches are getting blocked with the faces. Okay, give me a second. Is this better? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so which one would you like to start off with?
We'll start from bottom to top.
Aha.
No, above that.
That okay.
Uh-huh. So like I did some of the basic ones, and yesterday I crammed up everything into the final one. So this is the really early one where I've just used mouse input and line. So I'm
Okay.
not a huge fan of writing a lot of code. So I'll just cram many inputs into one simple geometry.
But this
Like
is
this.
really interesting. Like the mouse, Y and X are kind of changing the orientation, right? Of the.
In one of these creative coding talks, only I heard about this process where we make like a small paid function and
Okay.
we paid with it. So like right now, I don't know the output of the how the mouse would move, and we'll get an artwork. So like making such like an art tool and then making art with it.
Yeah, yeah.
This was like a process for these and the following ones as well. So this is like the first one where I'm just playing with the stroke weight and line.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
go to the next?
1 second.
It looks like weaving.
Yeah, right? The
And you
next
can get very
is.
complex patterns with such simple functions.
Okay, so this is
Again, like in
line 2.
this,
Ah, hey,
this is
hey.
mapping this lengths and
Wow.
like some of the inputs are same. So we get like a diagonal and all the
Uh-huh.
others are displacing from that. So again,
Yeah.
like a very small function and then we get different outputs every time.
Outputs, yeah. That's a very interesting methodology. Okay, we go
Yeah, the
ahead.
earlier one follow the same like sort of.
Same.
So like when we move across the mouse, we get like different line weights and line fills and all that.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, so I think the weights are determined by the Y, right?
Yes. So
And the
like
f
in this one, almost all functions have like a mouse input. So
okay.
like still very basic.
No, no, they are not basic. They are well thought through. ऐसे मत सोचो अपने बारे में. They are
Yeah, this
quite
is so
amazing.
interesting. I think
Yeah,
like with simple lines, so much can be done. So
yeah. So it's really cool. And then
wow.
okay.
Shades of Grey.
Huh. Okay. I'm just going, Fatafat. You can tell me if you want to stop at a specific one or.
For sure, this one is using variables and
Okay.
controlling the size of the ellipse
Ellipse. Okay. This is with
with
the
the width.
variable.
This is
Okay.
beautiful.
Again,
Very nice. Almost like that, those diagrams of refraction or
yeah,
something. Very nice. Okay. This one, I think this is day 1 only. Did I miss this one?
so this one is a little bit light in opacity. That's why. Again, I'm using mouse inputs and displacing just a single line. So every parameter of the line is different. So we are getting
Oh,
like
yeah.
all points are moving around. Like this is
In
just one line of code, only
yeah.
line.
That's so amazing.
See, this is it. Very cool. Then go to loop. Okay, super
So
cool.
this is the recreate
Nice.
one.
Very nice. So here, okay, so here again
Again,
it's
there is
like
only one loop.
one
So
loop.
only one loop I'm using it in X and Y's of different,
Yeah,
Oh,
super cool. Uh,
like
then
following
we
one
have
is the same. This one is using rotate and again just one line.
this is rotate na day 3. Yeah.
Hmm. So like okay,
Oh,
so hold your mouse, just hold your mouse in some place. So in the beginning where there is like no input, we get like a uniform circular shape,
okay.
but we can like add chaos to uh,
Based on
add some
the
jitter. Yes.
okay. So I'll just
So this will loop right now, um, only getting single mouse and XY. So we'll get like a uniform loop. But as we
aha.
change
And if I
development,
leave it at that new point, then again
it
it'll
will
be
begin
at
from there.
that particular
Yes.
location, right? Ah,
That's
like there it
beautiful.
is. Damn, very cool. I think it's good that we decided to share the sketches rather than on screenshots on on a PPT, because then you don't get to see these nuances. Very cool. Okay, then we have waves. Okay.
So these are using like different, only two sign functions are working, all else is frame count modulo.
Yeah.
So like when we frame count modulo some number, we get like 0 to that number. So
Yeah.
this, without using a loop, you can use a loop.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's a its own kind of loop.
Yes.
Very nice. So the modulo is on the frame count. So that's pretty cool. So like all the numbers are anyway going to come back to 0 at some
Yes.
point. No, it doesn't. Don't even say this word beatnik in the chat. My son will come running. He's using the D word. Dinosaur. Okay.
Okay, so in this one, you can see like a cityscape where there are
Mhm.
like flat, really low heighted buildings, and when we think of development, it's like skyscrapers. So you can click anywhere on the image, and you'll get like a building development, development,
Super.
development, development.
Ah, this is
Like
really cool.
I crammed everything into the all the learnings of whatever was left. So like this is a custom function
Mm-hmm.
which gives us the crosshair, the font,
Okay.
and the PNG image. So like
Okay.
his line whole thing is the crosshair on the image.
Aha. Okay. And where is the image in this
Image
function?
will be in the if
Ha,
mouse
if.
pressed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's the image in there.
Super. Super. And what is the original image? I don't know if that will open here. I don't think it opens here. Okay. This is super cool.
Will open Ambika if we go in the uh, which one?
On the side, na? I don't know. It's not
Uh,
coming up. But very nice.
it will open in my assets, I think.
Oh, okay. So then
It is
it will not open for me here because I'm in someone else's sketches.
okay.
Ah, okay. Super cool. Okay. So was there another one? No, this is the top one, right? Okay.
Like
Kushal, I just I'll be really happy if you can share your screen with that Blender thing which you were showing me yesterday. It
yes,
might be
so Aki open
interesting.
the earlier sketches. This one.
Okay.
So in this image, what I have essentially done, which I'll show you in a few moments, um, it is about this concept called a height map. A height map contains these gray and black to white values, so like gradations and all that. It is used in GIS, Geographic Information System. And so essentially, the blackest part is the lowest, and the whitest are like uh, a higher value. So we get like a map sort of. So we can use it as a bump map. So in 3D modeling, when we want to displace a lot of geometry, which I'll explain now. I'll share my screen now.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just pin it also.
So you all can see the Blender screen.
Give me a second. I'll have to
Yep,
adjust
yep.
this. 1 second. I'll keep both open so that you guys can see what he's up to. Oops, light went away in my house, but hopefully we'll push through.
So should I continue?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so in 3D modeling, suppose this is the base geometry. So this is just a plane, and when we move, we want to displace these points according to the image that I'm inputting. So I'll show the images first. So these are the images that I've made using P5. So as I've said, only black to white values and grays. So these can be used to displace geometry. So whitest parts will be the highest and black will be the lowest parts. So these are the base images. So the first one, so this is what I'm talking about. First it was just a um, flat plane, and now it is displacing all these points. So we get like a geometry deformation from the pattern that we make in P5. So it works with these black and white gradation images. Any image can work. So I thought of using my P5 sketches. So this is the second one. We can like control the extent of
So
how
black is the
much.
lowest, correct?
Yes, in a when we move toward the positive values
Okay.
and negative values is like ulta, the white will be going down.
Ah, okay. Oh, so you can determine that.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I interrupted
Like
somebody.
No, I was going to just say you're making your own landscapes from your sketches. It's amazing.
yeah. So this is like the third texture. And this is the final one where increasing these will invert the geometry. So negative values um, will get like an invert of the displays thing. So we can use like P5 in making these bump maps to use in our 3D workflows as well. And that was like a whole extra. And how would I like to use P5 in my workflows as well?
Okay.
Awesome.
Super cool. Okay, I'll make this one big now so that everyone can kind of be in the screen. And we can, I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about? Acha, before we just start off, someone in the chat is saying this reminds me of computer generated topography. That it is the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the same.
Okay, all right.
It's very inspiring. It's like you can imagine that last one, you can imagine sort of walking up that spiral that it made.
So that's it. I think the others haven't turned up, which is fine. Also, no problem. Uh, Shraddha had COVID, so has had or is still not yet recovered. So, uh, So, is there anything else you guys want to share? Something about your work? Maybe like I was very like quick with the introductions. Maybe you want to talk a bit more about yourselves. I don't know.
Not really.
Okay. Uh, uh, okay. Anything else that specifically you think you would like to try more in this format? Then we can kind of see if there's a possibility to figure it out in the coming months, like that you would preferred or like. Oh, someone is asking. Uh, yeah, okay. It's, people are saying they want to know more. Yeah, so they do want to know more. So, oh, I mean, I think Kushal and Jenny, you guys already knew some stuff about coding, right? Before you joined. Uh, what about you, Chandaji? Had you ever done any kind of computing or something when you were studying uh, maths, or like was there some kind of algorithmic?
Not in coding or algorithm.
Okay,
But I'm doing computer that I'm working from last, I think, 25 years. I'm
correct.
working.
Okay. So I don't know if this is known, but like everyone used to give us these different acronyms about what a computer stands for, like commonly operated machine, something something. But very recently, it dawned on me, specifically when I was watching this film called Hidden Figures, which is this film about a group of women who were the computers in the NASA center, which was basically their work was to compute mathematics because there were no machines to do it, and they would do it manually or mentally, and that was their job. So like when you needed a computer, a woman from the computer department would come into your into your space. So I feel like that origin is always gets missed, and that origin being linked to gender so strongly is also very interesting. And I feel like recreating gives us a bit of that sense to bring all of it back. But specifically, I don't know if you guys have had some. I don't know. I'm just being very like loose in my conversation. But like, do you feel a shift in understanding of coding when we do it in this format as opposed to when you like learn it in the structured hello world way? Like, what do you guys? I mean, I want your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's the visuals. You're starting from the visuals, aren't you? Here, so it gives you a different pathway into it.
And when you do it in Scratch, how does it normally work? Because I think you work with children, right?
Well, Scratch is amazing. Yeah, Scratch is amazing because it's just so free and you know I love to animate in Scratch, so yeah, I still love Scratch obviously, but this is a another way of exploring creativity and code. So any ways to explore those things together is great.
Okay. Uh, and did you feel like, Chindaji, like when you started off, was the editor, was it easy to use, or was it like I think it feels very similar to other software in that sense, no? Like Word or whatever, you're just typing or like sending an email.
I
Uh,
was very comfortable with it.
I mean, that's what I also felt because there was no setup. I think sometimes, with Python and all, you need to do a setup, and also it can be a bit, overwhelming, I guess. And I don't know. I think Kushal already was using processing, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, about the whole in shift happening due to people getting into coding. I have like a conspiracy theory about that.
Tell us more.
Like when we look at the development which we got began from the industrial age and coming of age of machines and all that. So that actually created like a divergence from fields. such as like many professions came into place and now they are getting redundant more and more due to digital age and all that. So like coding has become like a base for all this. Like machines now are called digital; they are not mechanical. Uh, and so coding has become the basis of many things, and it is like slowly creaking into design as well. Like like GANs are producing graphics, which can put us out of business. So be scared of GANs, I guess.
We'll make new jobs for ourselves. Uh, so
We'll become the
GANs are, for if people aren't aware, GANs are basically they are these kind of machine learning images which are oh, not guns, GANs. I hope I don't get banned for showing that. Wait, let me see. VQ GAN is better actually. So, and in fact, we worked with an artist recently, Nanditi and I, and you can just like punch in a few words, and then it'll give you like it'll dream up an image for you, and you can like kind of give it like a personality in terms of like what kind of an image it gives you and what's the styling. Is it like impressionist or is it cubist or whatever. uh, and thank you, Sneha. Sneha, there are some very, very, very talented and wonderful people in the chat, and I'm so happy. And I wish I could have shared that with the guests also. So yeah, be scared of it. But I think it's fine. I feel like okay, less stress for me to think about the visualization. I can just like give a two-liner and the visual will appear. So
More GPU, less stress.
yeah, more GPU, less stress. So yeah, so this is what GAN is. Um, but yeah, anything else? Maybe I don't know what else we could discuss, or if you guys want to like go, that's also okay. Uh,
When we like talk about code as well, coding is also like now being little node based workflows are like getting on par with like vanilla coding. People are doing a lot of stuff with node based workflows as well.
mm-hmm.
Like nodes have almost many softwares now have at least one framework which supports like node based and all.
I'll just share that on the screen so that people know about it as well. Uh, so nodes are basically like how we know nodes. They are just like they give you like some inputs and outputs, and then you can connect them and build visually or otherwise things.
Like every cell or every node is like a bit of code, so we just have to input and we'll get some output. So these are like small computer programs like clubbed together to make like a huge algorithm. So we don't have to code as such, but we are technically working with code. Like due to these as well, a lot of collaboration is now possible, like between experts of a similar field, like graphic designers to like they use compositing. Composite Nuke has node based workflows, and which then can be imported into like for motion we can use touch designer. So again there is a node based workflow. Music programs and all that have been using node based workflows for the earliest I think I can remember. Like node based workflows first appeared in like synth and
Yeah,
all that. Then
when people make racks, Euro racks and things, that is also kind of nodes in a sense. So yeah, so like in general, I feel like how I started this program project is that to be able to see ourselves as freely thinking between STEM and art, and then like to this new world of like STEAM as they call it, and just to be able to like do something exciting and do it with a lot of care, not only for the work but also for ourselves, which is most important, because if you don't sleep well and don't eat well, then, then how can you create anything? So just keeping with that spirit and keeping with the values of P5JS to be like free, open, you know, inviting, warm, welcoming, affectionate, and just to keep that going and take this forward. Teach it to your friends, please, and we'll all re-meet on the streams. And I'm just seeing if there is any question on the chat which anybody needs to answer.
Before we came on live, we were chatting as well about like how great it is to feel fearless and kind of
Yeah.
just not worry about making mistakes and stuff.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just give the prompt out and I'll leave it to you guys to discuss. Is that when I sent out the mail to the participants, we were actually almost 10 of us, but only three three have come in today. So I specifically said, even if you are not able to share your work, please join and just like encourage others. And to be sometimes when, like, especially I felt it, and Chandaji saying, what do you mean you were younger? But when I was, say, in college, I did always feel that I couldn't share my work because it wasn't how it wouldn't turn out to be how I had imagined it in my mind, and that would like add to this like larger disappointment and pressure that you anyway have as a student, and I would like not turn up. And I felt like over the years I've stopped like not caring about it, and I just kind of throw my work out there and let people see what they want to do with it. And that I felt was fearlessness. But I think Jenny put it very interestingly. You used another term for it, right? Instead of saying fearless.
Oh, yeah, playfulness, which is it comes from what like I've been doing in Scratch, and yeah, it's what you're saying, but like not kind of letting the fear of it's kind of doing it anyway, you know. It's not letting it stop you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like having that exploration and exploring it, and knowing that you are gonna have bugs in your code, and it doesn't matter because that's part of the process. And I think we were talking before, weren't we, about it being mistakes being part of the process.
Yeah.
And accepting it and enjoying it actually anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, even like how Chandaji said that for the spiral, you had tried different numbers, na? Then finally you arrived at something. So like even if someone of her mathematical abilities is also doing trial and error, so anyone of us can, right? So, and that's where, you know, she's also balancing her skills with what she's learned, and we will also be doing that. So like, and it's always nice to share something which is on its way, because you may get some interesting feedback from people, and you know, somebody might help you make it better or take it in a direction that you never thought, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And build on each other. So.
Yeah. Okay, someone has said something. Actually, making art is always playing with mistakes and learning from trial and error. Yeah, which like pretty much like code, I guess. So yeah, and I guess life also, like we learn from our mistakes. So cool. Okay, we can close it out now. If you guys have anything else you'd like to share, or okay, cool. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful for you guys that you turned up and with your work. And Aditi, thanks for pushing your mom, because you know, like, she's done some amazing stuff. And Jenny and Kushal, thank you guys for joining. And Kushal to my ever supporter, so I'm always like 100% happy that you're here. And thanks everyone who's joined in the stream. Do you guys want to share some social media place where you can people can connect with you? That would be nice for them to follow up with you, you know, on like what you're up to, or you're not comfortable with it, then it's totally okay also. Some people in the chat are really interesting. You should follow and like look at their work. Ubi the Feo works really like with wonderful Arduino stuff. Like I learned how to solder thanks to one very obscure video he did on Instagram. There is Sneha who's been working with autistic children, teaching them creative coding, wonderful things with robotics. And then Ophelia, who's also Anushka, does some really great stuff with P5JS and text and computation and with shaders. There is Cyanodent who's doing some very interesting thing with 3D and AR filters. Beatniks doing some amazing work with music, AI, and he was part of this very wonderful fellowship called Be Fantastic. So guys, feel free to like put all your stuff in the chat, because I'm okay if like people should be able to like meet each other. Jenny and Chandaji, any like Facebook or something which I can share in the chat? Kushal, I think you shared yours already. Can I share your Twitter and stuff? Is that okay? No, Chandaji, do you have Facebook?
No.
Okay, nothing. Okay. You want to start? You want to start one now? Okay, maybe I'll share it later whenever it's ready. Aditi, now that's up to you to help her.
Instagram, I'll get her on.
Yeah. Because Instagram has a really cool community of creative coding stuff, and she might like to see what else is happening around also.
Yeah.
So,
I'm ready for the next course, Ambika.
I don't even know what it will be in. I'm thinking that there should be a course on like what does it mean to do coding when you are doing 10 other things. So like you do one line of code and you go and change the pajama of a baby, and then you come back and do one line of code and you go and stir your vegetables. I don't know. That would be fun to see how you balance everything out.
Coding at life, yeah.
Yeah, like coming together. Okay, so Jenny, is it okay to share yours? I didn't see if you said yes or no.
Yeah.
Your okay, wait, it's J Alfred. 1 second. Let me open Chrome and sorry. Oh, this is not working. 1 second. Kushal, you can just put your credentials in the Twitch chat, please. Okay. And okay, so I may do another session in December, but the same recreating, not a new one. Not yet, Chandaji. I need time to figure out something challenging enough for you. I hope that you guys can kind of, some of you are interested in joining. I think I have like 2 people already signed up. Maybe I can take about 3-4 more. So you can connect with me on Instagram, or I don't use Twitter, so like just like try Instagram, that's better for me. Or if you need my email address, it's here on the chat. Can you guys hear Yugen?
Yeah.
He's adding his credentials.
Yeah. He's been busy today and was very excited to be taken to the aquarium, which he called the fish zoo.
Yes.
That's amazing. I think that's the most creative name I've ever heard.
So okay, so I'll see you guys, and I don't know when the next stream is, and if people are interested, on 26th I'm doing a stream with iterations online. Don't know what's gonna happen yet, but just you can join. The timings and all are all on their website, which I'll post here and here both. Okay. So I'll close the stream now, but if you, Jenny, Chandaji, and Kushal can just stay back for a few minutes and then we just like close it up here as well. So thanks everyone for joining. Yay. Bye.
Thanks, Ambika.
Thank you.
Bye.
Just
Thank
stay for
you.
2 minutes, Chandaji. Don't go. I just want to say bye to the streaming people, and then thank you. Bye bye.